Hi, this is the sprint review for team C minus minus. So we'll just straight go through the user stories. So the first user story is related to the sprint cycle. So there are two main pages that are affected by this. One will be the sprint backlog page. Let's just add user stories to test this out. So we come here, we add two sprints user stories, and I go to users sprint backlog. You can see the user stories are populating here. And the second page that gets modified because of this is the sprint cycle page. So if I go inside the simulation, I can see the two user story pop up. Now moving on to the next user story, the product backlog page needs to be updated. So this basically just refers to the fact that when we add user stories to the sprint, the user stories page now no longer shows three user stories, but just the one because the other two have been moved to the sprint. The next user story refers to a variation of the main scenario where we just show the user that he can no longer edit the user story while he's in the sprint. Because sprint backlog, these show this message, cannot edit sprint backlog. Sprint is already running. And the next user story is creating UI to initiate a blocker. So this is one of the first user story now, list of blocker related user stories. And this one just particularly refers to just the creation of the blocker list in the simulation. So if I go here, I go within I just have a screen over here in this simulation page, which just shows the list of blockers. The next user story here is regarding the logic behind it. So the updating of the status and so on, and the pop-up as well. So what I do here is go to here and create a blocker. I can add a name, blocker one description, submit, and now we can see that it updates in the blocker list. And you can update the statuses like this and so on. Now I leave this empty for the future. The next user story is the resolution of blocker status. So if I go here and just resolve this, and I just close and come back, join simulation, you will see that it's completed now. Now the next user story here is just referring to the list of possible blockers. Now, so I'll just add one more blocker here, B2, description for B2, submit, and you can see that there are two now. So that's just what this is referring to. So we have a proper list that displays on the sprint panel, sorry, blocker panel. Um, yeah. Now we get onto the spike related user stories. And the spike just refers to user stories, sorry, blockers that are not fully informed. So as you can see, this particular blocker is not fully informed. That's why I left this openly earlier. So now if we have the solution not clear at the time, what we do is we create a spike and you can see that only that blocker will show up and not this one. So now I can go here and simply, I can resolve here, or I can update the status as well. If I hit update the status, you can see it update over here. Yeah, and if you create a spike and you can see that there are no longer any blockers that should be in the spike. So that's a spike related user story. Now we get to the user stories that were related to the blue user stories, which were almost complete. The first one is student edits the sprint variables in the simulation page. So if I go to the create new simulation page, we now have like a third row here to duration. We can just add the amount of days for the duration. And this is followed up by the next user story, which is regarding deletion of user stories. So this just means that we now have a functionality that allows us to delete the user stories in the product backlog page. Let me just close some of these. And yeah, so we go to the user stories page. Now we have this delete user story button. And let me just, I can delete here as well, but I'll just add one and then delete it. User story 2, description for user story 2, submit it. Now I just close and come back. Now I can just delete this user story. I can delete the first one, perhaps either way is fine. I close this. Oh, sorry. Close this and come back. And you will see that there's only one user story. So it's getting deleted properly. The last user story here refers to the business value attribute. So as you saw in the user story flow, we have a business value attribute here. Now I can just go in and you can see it here as well. That completes the user stories. We also have solved all the issues and tagged it to the sprint as well. So the first issue that we've listed here is the user story selection dropdown. So earlier what used to happen is in this tab, this particular dropdown would be empty because of some issue. We have fixed that issue and now all the user stories are getting populated properly. The second issue is regarding the wrong pop-up. So the application now starts with just the demo page and the general simulation page does not open up. The third and the fourth are related to the simulation page, and it shows that the two extra pages, which are the participants page and the role page, are now no longer needed, so have been removed. And the last issue is regarding the edit of user stories. We have the ability to now edit the user stories as many times as we want, because earlier what was happening is when we edited once, user story 2 and submit, and we no longer could edit it, but now we can. We can come here and update it again and submit it, and it shows again, it updates correctly. So that completes all the issues and the user stories, and basically it shows that we have achieved the goal for our sprint 1. Team, thank you all for joining. Any things that you might want to mention?
No, thank you, Rahul.
No. Thank you, Rahul.
Yeah, thank you.